XYO front-running render in Honey, the massive DePIN chart setup today. For those of you who are here because it's a new coin being covered, like, subscribe, or become a member. I tend to cover many other coins not shown to the public, many of which have made members hundreds and thousands of dollars within the first week of becoming a member. But to grab new viewers' attention, this is what we'll be covering. Let's get into the TA. So XYO, we've talked about this before. We talked about it before it broke out of this downward wedge, pushed up towards the 200 EMA, retraced back here, and we were saying once it breaks again, we could get another quick pump. That happened, and these were scalp trades that were presented to members. And ever since then, day after day, we're waiting for Bitcoin essentially. But the good news is for XYO is that it's outside the downward wedge. And and for XCN viewers, this is essentially what we more than likely want to see for XCN. We don't want to see it get out of the downward wedge and then just take off. We want to see it exit the wedge, come down and test it as support like XYO did back here in June, roughly 7th to 10th, and then came down again, testing it as support. It's back in this fair value gap, and if we go back in history, we can see this yellow line was essentially where XYO had bottomed out back in December of 2022 and again in October of 2023. Once it broke over this wedge, it had a major pump to the upside. But right now, we're looking at the red downward wedge, and you see all these different colors in here. Essentially, that's a gone fan. We just place it up here right around the 0.026, draw a downward trend line, and essentially pans out a bunch of the support and resistance that we could be entering into. And right now, it's right in the dead center. But the main thing is it broke out of the red downward wedge, tested as support, and it's near its absolute low. It's trying to say, you know what, I've tested this before. I could not break this area around the 0.00284. Yes, it may pull back again, and in crypto, a lot of the time, it likes to sweep just below it, so the people who have sell stops at the absolute low get liquidized, and then people are buying up right off of the top of this wedge. If we draw that out a little bit more, there's the possibility of it hitting that before having the hammer smack it up into the 200 EMA. So right now it's in consolidation. It's looking beautiful. RSI down here, healthy. It's building higher lows. It tested that yellow ribbon. It's starting to get a little bit of support off of it, but we could see this consolidate while the yellow crosses over, like we saw back here. It was trying to hold above the yellow, didn't exactly do it, but the moment it gave it the opportunity, right here on May 5th, it pumped to the overbought area, and we could easily see that happen with XYO, currently sitting at 0.00314. If it maintains that, there's a potential 39% or a little bit higher, potentially 60, before getting some rejection and resistance and essentially consolidating on top of the 200 EMA is what we want to see. But overall, the red downward wedge is a bullish pattern. The blue, roughly, I guess, triangle, this area that we are working within, we have all of this to the upside. Work with me, iPad. All of this, come on, to the upside, but there's still that potential downside. So keep in mind, it's just riding the line, but this is absolute zero right here. So we've seen support right in this area before. Do not freak out, but if you're looking to enter a new coin, XYO has some pretty nice potential, not just that 30 to 60%, but reverting back to its all-time high or previous all-time high. It was all the way up here around 0.043, which is essentially, if you're looking at this compared to XCN, they're more or less doing the same thing. XYO is a little bit ahead of the game, but XCN has some major potential to hit new all-time highs, as XYO's all-time high is only 0.08, but XCN is all the way up at 18 cents. Pretty major difference. Both are riding around the same price range. XYO may not be as profitable as XCN, but it does have a very good utility, and stacking now is not a bad idea. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Render. Moving on. For members, we've talked about Render. I brought it up once to the public, and it crossed a downward trend line. It tested it as support back here in May, and that's exactly what we wanted to see. Yes, it is still consolidating. It does have pressure on that 200 EMA, kind of suppressing it a bit, but it's trying to build higher lows. Essentially, it's trying to maintain above this black upward trend line, which goes way back in history, all the way back to 2023, 3 years ago. That's the bottom. We built an upward trend line. It more or less, it broke through it, but that was probably October 10th, Claro. Major liquidity sweep, pulled right back up, and then it found support right on that trend line twice. And it's building higher lows from there. I have this green line placed here because that's where we wanted it to continue to build higher lows off of. However, the moment that was broken, it pushed a little bit lower. But the main thing to keep in mind is it's still above this black upward trend line, which is good news. And if it does go below that, you're still looking at support around $1.11 for Render. Also, very good utility. GPU mining, air cloud mining. I constantly talk about that roller coin game. Airdrops 1,000 Satoshi Bitcoin to your wallet, free money. Use that reference link. Start playing the game. I know I keep promoting it, but we're going sideways. Why not profit on a daily basis doing nothing? That's my thing. But $1.57 right now, $1.10 is the absolute base, but we want to see it consolidate in this area. 200 EMA is extremely tight. It would be very easy for Render to push up over that 200 EMA and go beyond that. Up to its first major resistance being 157%, but I'm also looking at this as resistance at 55% and this as 74% as resistance. If it gets past both those, you're looking at 155% before the first major resistance, and that's still pretty good ROI for putting in $1.56, turning it into $3 or more. Not a bad bet. RSI, very healthy. Still building higher lows, and it's keeping it nice and tight. You see it was right here around 35. The next one, only 36.76. Next one, roughly the same price, but this one is up at 40. So it's slowly building higher lows, and it's keeping it right around that 50, which is exactly what you want to see after breaking a downward trend line, being this one, and building higher lows over the bigger picture. But Render's all-time high or previous all-time high was all the way up there around what, $12, $13? Lag City. $13.47. $1.57. Not bad. But keep in mind, if it does get beyond this $4 mark, we still have resistance up here around $7.40 because we have a downward trend line from the previous two all-time highs, roughly. So there can be resistance there that lines up perfectly with the Fibonacci, the orange box here, the 618. Perfect. If it can go above that, it'll more likely retrace back underneath there, find some support within the $5 to $6 range. But lucky for you, you are more than likely buying it around $1.50, $1.10, and you are going to be able to shill it out at those higher prices to people who miss the pump and watch the videos that are like, oh, render's up 500%. And they're like, oh, I should probably get in. Well, you missed it. That's why we're talking about it right now. So you can get in on it before it takes off. That's what members are for. Keeping in mind, members, 50% of your donations or memberships go to save animals' lives. You guys have already saved one animal's life. That is awesome. That's the community coming together. I'm thinking about calling it the Hammer community. Maybe, I don't know. You guys write in the comments below. You got the XRP army, you got the Bitcoin fanatics, and you have the NC Hammer crypto. Something. We'll think of something. You guys write what you want to be called. But for those of you who have been following along, you have more than likely profited well over 200% if you're selling off. But it brings me to the last coin, Honey. Not the best in my opinion. Honey, Hivemapper. The utility isn't the best, but this is exactly what I was pointing out right before SYN pumped 2,000%. Keep in mind, members got informed of that 2,000% from 2 cents to like 60 cents right before it happened, because essentially Honey could be potentially doing the same thing. Why? Well, just look at that 200 EMA. Just look at it. It's a nice tight curve. Right here, it was way away from this 200 EMA, and it got rejected, came up, tried to touch it, but fell short of the glory of God, got pushed down even further. But now, the glory of God is very, very close. It's right there. It's a lot easier for this coin to be able to hop over that 200 EMA and just start taking off. But I don't think Hivemapper or Honey is going to pump like SYN. But right now it's at 0.001. So any type of movement is going to be pretty substantial. Just to hit that 200 EMA is 260%. That's pretty phenomenal. Say it goes beyond that. The first resistance being this yellow line, 410%. Looking at previous history, 985% for the first real resistance. Almost 10x your money. But I'm not saying put in $10,000 in the Honey because you might be able to 10x it. There is not enough data in this chart for me to feel very confident in it, like SYN had, because it's not really building higher highs. It's always building lower highs. But we've seen this with XCN. XCN had a major pump, major crash, didn't really have anything going for it. But I said, you know what? The CM Guppy is thinned out. The 200 EMA is about as close as it gets. All I really need to see is a little bit of volume. And I believe XCN went up like 256%, right around this kind of same signal that we're looking at right now. It's flatlining. CM Guppy is about to flip to green, and that's still 300% within this small area, and a lot more to go. If we fib this, say we're fibbing from the previous high, fib is beautiful mathematics, to its low, the real first resistance, besides what I just pointed out here and here, at roughly a penny and a half, is 3 cents from 0.00133. Say you enter in at 0.00149, that is 2,245%. Some people say it's crazy. It is possible. We've seen it happen in crypto. I don't really see a reason for that to happen, but it is possible to go up that high just with one major pump over the course of a few days. But what I'm really looking at is a 3x. Just tapping that 200 EMA. 2 to 3x, not bad for Honey Hivemapper. If you like this video, like it, subscribe to it, click the bell to get notified of more videos. Become a member if you want. That's what keeps me making these videos. I always appreciate you guys, and I will be doing a members video tomorrow. I am a little busy today, so good luck. Have fun with it. I'll see you guys on the next one.